Kawagarbo. Kawagarbo or Kawa Karpo, as it is known by local residents and pilgrims, or Kawagebo Peak, is the highest mountain in the Chinese province of Yunnan. It is located on the border between Dêqên County, Yunnan, and the counties of Zogang and Zayü of the Tibet Autonomous Region. It rises about 20 kilometers, 12 miles, west of Shengping, the seat of Dêqên County, which lies on China National Highway 214. What is now Dêqên County has been part of Yunnan since the 1720s, when the current border with Tibet was established by the early Qing Dynasty. Kawa Garbo is one of the most sacred peaks in the Tibetan world and is often referred to as Nyainqênkawagarbo to show its sacredness and avoid ambiguousness with the other Kawagarbo in the Anung-Derung-speaking Gongshan County. Geography. Kawa Garbo is the high point in a range of high peaks that are generally referred to by Tibetans also as Kawagarbo. A mapping error by the Chinese army during the 1950s transcribed the name for a lower range of mountains to the north on a much larger area that also included Kawagarbo. The name of this lower range in Tibetan is Menri, Wili system, Smonri in the Wade Giles system. Name means mountains of medicinal herbs, but is most widely known by its Chinese transliteration, Meili Shuishan. This is the name most widely applied to the range by Chinese and Western sources. The Meili Range is a small massif of the much more extensive Hengdu Shan, the major north-south trending complex of mountains lying along the eastern edge of the Tibetan Plateau in eastern Tibet, northwestern Yunnan, western Sichuan, and far northern Myanmar. The Meili Shuishan forms part of the divide between the Salween, Nujiang, and Mekong, Langkangjiang, rivers. The Meili Shuishan has over 20 peaks with permanent snow cover, including 6 peaks over 6,000 meters, 19,700 feet. Topographic extremes are immense, with vertical relief ranging from less than 2,000 meters along the Mekong River on the east to 6,740 meters on the summit of Kawagarbo within 10 kilometers horizontal distance. Even greater topographic relief is found on the west or Salween River side of the range. Coincident with this extreme topographic gradient is a similarly steep environmental gradient. Compressed within this short distance are subtropical scrub ecosystems along the arid canyon bottoms, rising through dry oak forests, humid mixed deciduous coniferous forests, cold temperate coniferous forests, alpine meadows and scree above treeline, to permanent snow on the high peaks. The Mengyang Glacier, descending from the summit of Kawagarbo, terminates at a low elevation just before the subtropical life zone. The range is highly affected by the monsoon, leading to especially unstable snow conditions, which have affected climbing attempts. See below. Sacred mountain worship. Kawagarbo is one of the most sacred mountains for Tibetan Buddhism as the spiritual home of a warrior god of the same name. It is visited by 20,000 pilgrims each year from throughout the Tibetan world. Many pilgrims circumambulate the peak, an arduous 240 kilometers, 150 miles, trek. Although it is important throughout Tibetan Buddhism, it is the local Tibetans that are the day-to-day guardians and stewards of Kawagarbo, both the deity and the mountain. The ancestral religion of the Kawagarbo area, as in much of Tibet, was Bon, a shamanistic tradition based on the concept of a world pervaded by good and evil spirits. Bon encompassed numerous deities and spirits which are still recognized today, and are often connected with specific geographical localities and natural features. The major mountain peaks in the Hengduan Mountains are thus all identified with specific deities. Kawagarbo is one of these. Since its introduction, Tibetan Buddhism has been the dominant religion of the Kawagarbo area, with followers of Gelugpa doctrine being the most common. Tibetans believe the warrior god will leave them if human sets foot on the peak of Kawagarbo, making the ground unholy. Disasters will follow as they lose God's protection. Tibetans have also established a centuries-old sacred geography around the peak, maintained by religious leaders from local monasteries in negotiation with local villages. This sacred natural site preserves the natural resources and ecological health of the range. Climbing history. The first attempt on Kawa Karpo was made in 1987 by a party from the Joetsu Alpine Club of Japan. In the winter of 1990-91, a group from the Academic Alpine Club of Kyoto University attempted the peak in conjunction with a Chinese group. Their activity caused heavy protests from the local Tibetan community due to the mountain's cultural and religious significance. On January 3, 1991, a nighttime avalanche killed all 17 members of the expedition, in one of the most deadly mountaineering accidents in history. The Kyoto Club returned in 1996 to make another unsuccessful attempt. American expeditions, led by Nicholas Clench, visited the range in 1988, 1989, 1992, and 1993, attempting other major peaks, but were unsuccessful. In 2001, local government passed laws banning all future climbing attempts on cultural and religious grounds. As of 2010, none of the significant peaks of the range have been successfully climbed. Retreat of Mingyang Glacier. Mingyang Glacier descends steeply from the east face of Kawagarbo into the Mekong River Valley on the Yunnan side of the massif. Because it descends from near the summit of Kawagarbo, it is also considered sacred by Tibetan Buddhists, and 2 temples are located along its lower edge. From those temples, the rapid retreat of Mingyang Glacier is obvious, especially to local people who observe it year in and year out. A monk from Taizhi Temple reflected on this rapid retreat of Mingyang Glacier, concerned that it might be punishment from Kawagarbo for the lack of devotion by him and his fellow Buddhists. The retreat of Mingyang Glacier, linked to a warming climate in the Dêqên area, has received considerable attention for its implications for biodiversity conservation, retrieval of climbers' bodies killed in the 1991 avalanche, impacts on Mingyang village water supply, and in the broader context of climate change impacts to biological and social systems in northwest Yunnan and beyond.